So guys, apparently there's a new round of job cuts, but not exactly job cuts because NIO is also still hiring people as well. It's more like job efficiencies. They're changing things, making some useless jobs, redundant jobs not exist anymore. They're basically firing those people that have basically not so effective positions, and they're consolidating them, combining departments, etc., basically boosting efficiency. This is something that we really want to see, and this is also very, very nice. So we got this post on Weibo about one of the employees that was fired, but this person, apparently it's a she. She was kind of a disgruntled employee. This is a very good example of how efficient NIO is at sort of getting rid of these positions, all right? And even though it's a complaint, all right, it's never good to get fired, all right? But I think this is something that NIO is doing good on behalf of shareholders, all right? Not wasting resources, not wasting time, and getting the job done. So here it starts, NIO's so this is like Sangguan approach really refreshed my perspective. So this is like, I guess, the ethicalness of everything. So she's saying that she got fired unethically, but I think this is very, very efficient what they're doing. So first, the background. On the afternoon of June 19th, the line manager and HR came to us for interview for discussion. They said that the position was gone, citing organizational change, structure adjustments, and major changes. So this is definitely, consolidating, making things more efficient. This was completely subjective to the company and did not provide any objective evidence. They also included regional companies. The position was abolished, but the position at the headquarters was retained. So just some background info. This employee apparently worked in Shenzhen. So this position, whatever she was doing in Shenzhen, that position no longer exists. However, the headquarters still has this position, and it's occupied by another employee, obviously. So the work was the same, and our data has been in the top one for a long period of time. So she's just saying that, her results, her team's results have been number one compared to the other teams around the city that do the same thing. And there's basically no basis for her to get fired. Okay, based on the above situation, the objective situation stated by the HR can be completely overturned, and there's no legal basis. So it's not like underperformance or anything like that. It's basically like, hey, we don't have this position anymore. You can go now. So number two, very interesting, communication process. So before entering this small room, I was asked to hand over my mobile phone. After everyone finished talking, they were asked to go into another small room for isolation. I don't know which legal or company regulations this operation is based on. So basically, they have lots of communication without phones, etc. But apparently, this person recorded everything. So they had a second phone or something like that. But this is very interesting. Keep on going. The first round of communication. In the afternoon, the line manager and HRBP communicated with us individually. On the grounds of major changes, they negotiated with us to resign. All right, so they want you to resign first. And this is something very interesting, like in sales. All right, if you don't perform in sales, you're not fired, because if you're fired, NIO has to pay you severance pay. So what NIO does is they put you in a special category, which is sort of like internship with like super, super low salary, and it's basically like you're getting fired. All right, and you basically, that's not enough money to sustain and yourself, and on the basis of like underperformance and everything, you're just like voluntarily resigning. So this is what they're trying to do, all right? So they want this person to voluntarily resign, negotiate with us to resign, and ask us to sign an agreement. After we refused, the company offered to transfer to XX. Here is a brief description: salary reduction and structural changes, which were quite different from the original position. Of course, we refused. So this is like almost like the thing that they're doing with the sales staff. If the sales staff don't perform, you put in that special category with like no salary. Basically, you're forced to fire yourself, forced to leave. Now, second round of communication. This is quite interesting. This shows the efficiency, all right? On the same day, it was already past the off-duty time. The department head and regional HR manager communicated with us. The plan remained unchanged. The HR manager repeatedly emphasized that it complied with legal provisions, and it was, well, in her perspective, it was obviously illegal. So it was taken for granted. During the communication, I asked whether it was economic layoffs or organizational structural change. The HR manager made it clear that it was an organizational structural change and said that if the agreement was not signed before 8 o'clock that night, another unilateral termination notice will be stamped that night. After completing the chapter, it was mailed to my home address. I informed that it needed to be given to me in person tomorrow. On June 20th, the HR manager said the company would choose to mail it. I normally informed that I did not receive written notice. I would return to the company to work normally. But this is what's really, really interesting. So by 8 p.m. that night, her Feishu account, which is the thing you use to clock in and basically report your work progress and everything, it's basically like your work app. All right, something happened that refreshed my ethical views. The agreement between the two parties was not signed, the unilateral cancellation was not received, and all permissions were closed. Well, I took it as a verbal notification. That night, I received a text message and a WeChat notification from the line manager saying that it was notified. The book was sent out separately and annual leave was compulsory. But the wording was still inaccurate, so I responded normally and refused. I went to work as usual and punched in with a watermark camera every day to avoid being dismissed later. It was full of pitfalls. Okay, where have all the promised values of NIO, sincerity, care, vision, and action gone? So next, keep on going. Part 4, I returned to the company the next day on June 20th to clock in. And when I clocked in, I was shocked. All right, the agreement between the two parties was not signed. Unilateral cancellation was not received. All the office equipment was emptied. So this speaks to the efficiency, all right? Office equipment is gone by the next day, all right? Feishu is in resignation status. So basically, on the work app, she's officially already fired, and no labor conditions are provided. Now, what I want to know is, since the notice was given verbally and the notice of termination was sent separately and the office equipment was emptied and the factual basis for illegal layoffs is available, where is the notice of termination that you mentioned? It won't be sent to outer space. So apparently all the contents were recorded and the evidence is complete. There was voice recording of everything. Now, job cuts are as harsh as they are part of a natural thing that happens at every single company, even Apple, even Meta, even Google, all these big companies, they all have job cuts. NIO included also has job cuts. So we feel a little bit bad for that employee, but it just shows, this emphasizes how efficient NIO is at handling things, right? They just get rid of that job position really, really quickly, and they're taking action, which makes me really happy that they're taking action to make things more efficient, all right? And everybody that doesn't need to be at the company, they are not going to be at the company. So this is very nice. Going forward, they're going to make things a lot more efficient, and operational expenses, all right? The salaries, of course, is one of the huge expenses that NIO incurs on top of R&D. So it's good that NIO can make things more efficient. This is what we all want to see. All right. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.